We're taking a look at aviation forecasts. Aviation forecasts are printed forecasts that pilots need to be familiar with. And there are different kinds you need to know. There's 5. So the ones we need to be familiar with are terminal aerodrome forecast, and that is TAF. So terminal aerodrome forecast, all of them are listed up here, TAF. The next one is aviation area forecast. Aviation area forecast is just FA. You also have in-flight weather advisories, and these are significant meteorological information, or SIGMET, another acronym you just gotta remember, SIGMET for significant meteorological information. And then you have airman's meteorological, can barely say that word, information, airmet. Winds and temperatures aloft forecasts, and that's just going to be FB. So those are the ones you need to look at. They're all listed in this kind of introduction part. We're going to focus on TAF here though. And TAFs are weather reports for 5 statute miles around an airport. Typically these are for larger airports. Now let's look at what a TAF is. Each TAF is going to be valid for 24 to 30 hours, and it's updated 4 times a day. It's updated at 12 o'clock a.m. In Zulu time, this is just going to be 0, 0, 0, 0 Zulu. You have 0600, you have 1200, and 1800. So in increments of 6, basically. TAF is going to use the same descriptors as METAR. You're going to notice a lot of similarities as we go through the different parts of this. So first is the type of report. It's going to be a TAF, or TAF AMD for TAF amended. Next, just like the METAR, you have your station identifier, and we're going to go over an example of it in a second. Next, after the type of report, station identifier, you're going to have your day and time, just like a METAR, it's in Zulu. So you have your day and then the time unit. Next, which is new, is the valid day and time. Remember, TAF is valid for 24 to 30 hours. So if you look at number 4, you have a valid period. So for this one, it's going to be the date. It's the 8th of our current month, and it's going to be at 1200 to the 9th, so the next day at 1200. It's current for 24 hours, and then we'll need a new TAF report. So that's the valid date and time. First 2 digits are the day, last 2 digits are the time. If the time for the ending, so the last one behind the slash, if it ends at 12 a.m., so that's like typically 0000, it is going to be written as 2400. So if we look down here, it is annotated as 24. Next is where we're going to have forecast wind, as well as forecast visibility. Something different than METAR, if our forecast visibility is greater than 6 miles, it's noted as P6 statute miles. Otherwise, it's just a normal number and then statute miles. But again, if it is greater than 6 miles, it is P6 statute miles. Then we're going to have the forecast significant weather, as well as forecast sky conditions. And these are just like METAR. You're about to see this in our example that we have below. For 9, we have the forecast change group, and this is the big block of the TAF report. And for this, we have the expected conditions, as well as time periods and other information about it. It can be listed as FM or tempo. FM is for rapid, significant change, and that's like current. And this is going to happen typically within the hour. Now, tempo is usually for temporary fluctuations of weather, and it's expected to last less than an hour. So FM is kind of more like current, urgent, and tempo is used for expected less than an hour, so small time period, but in a significant fluctuation of weather. And then you have a probability with a number. This is also new. Probability with a number is the given percentage of thunderstorm and precipitation in the upcoming hours. So let's look at an example as well as an explanation of this. So we first start off with TAF, and then we have the airport. Next we have the date and time, and then we have the day and time that is valid. We then go to our tempo, and this is all standard up to here. After this is where we get into basically the forecast change group. So when it says wind from 150 degrees at 12 knots, we're looking past this tempo. So you see the date, 11, the time is 12 to 11:14. We have 5 statute miles of visibility, BR, and that's just signifying the forecast. I highlighted all this here because it just doesn't look right with this example right here. It seems like it's missing information on this top part. But if we look at this next part, it is included. So we have tempo, and it's between 11, 12, so that's going to be the 11th date here and the 11th date here. And remember, it's the same date because it's temporary. It's typically an hour. This one is 2 hours. It's from 1200 Zulu time to 1400 Zulu time. You have a visibility of 5 statute miles. You have BR, which is missed. Next, you have FM. So that's going to be from, you have 1500 Z. So that's essentially going to be 1500 Zulu time. You have winds at 160. Remember how to read this. Then you have 15 knots gusting at 25 knots, and a visibility is greater than 6 statute miles. You're going to have scattered clouds, SCT, and this is going to be at 4,000. Remember, you have to append 2 zeros to it, 4,000 feet. And then you have broken visibility at 25,000 feet. And then you would continue on with this FM. You would keep going on, and you just keep going on up until here. You got a whole lot of information on this one. You're going to have FM 12 and then 4 numbers. The FM 12 is for the second date, and then the zeros are because we're starting at 12 a.m. or 0 for the next day. The wind's at 140 degrees at 12 knots. There's no gusting here. Visibility is greater than 6 statute miles. You have broken clouds at 8,000. You have an overcast at 15,000 feet, and a probability of thunderstorms or rain, it's 30%, and that's during this time right here. You have a visibility of 3 statute miles, thunderstorms and rain, and then broken at 3,000 with cumulus nimbus clouds. I've highlighted this next one here. It is from 1200. This is going to be FM 12, so it is on the second day. I didn't specify it with this one or with this one here, but notice how this one only has 4 numbers. That means it's on the first day. If it has this 12 in front of it, well, it's on the second day. So on the 12th at 400, you're going to have a wind direction at 140 degrees at 8 knots. You have over 6 statute miles of visibility. You have scattered clouds at about 4,000 and an overcast of 80. We have this last one right here. It's a temporary, it's tempo. So it's going to be at 12,400, so right after this, to 12,800. You have 3 statute miles of visibility. Thunderstorms with rain, moderate, and then you have an overcast of 3,000 with cumulus nimbus clouds. And that's going to be all for this one right here. So that's it for TAF. If you have any questions, you can leave them in the comments below. Terminal aerodrome forecasts. Next, we're going to finish off the entire section with convective significant meteorological information. This one's a super short section, but I'll have it just in a separate video.